Welcome back, folks, to another episode of DGS 2 Case 3. We went up to examine the device for a short while and ran into Baroque and Mr. Damien up there and had a very interesting moment up there. So now we are going to go to Madam Russaud's in this video. I don't know if we're going to go anywhere else right at this point, but we are going to go see Madam Russaud to have a little chat with Mr. Holmes about a certain thing. The same day, unspecified time, Madam Russaud's. I have expected nothing less from a Chamber of Horrors. Makes me want to turn right back around, leave the museum and eat some sweets and go home. Oh. Guess she starts longing for sweets when something scares her. Oh. In any case, that wax figure. It looks even worse with the DLC. It looks just like the real Holmes-sama. Is something wrong? No, it's just that I'm pretty sure that's a temporary wax figure. Oh, it's you, the man's friend. Yes, Attorney Naruhodō. In any case, I'm truly impressed. I expect nothing less from the famous detective. My poor kidnapped dear was just returned. So then... Yes, the case was solved. I guess that's the power Hunger has on Holmes-san. Therefore, as you can see, he's returned to his usual duties. Right. Usual duties? Now then, do try not to disturb the wax figure. Tusssaud-san looks a little puzzled. I mean, I would be too! I think we're examining this curtain. It's a heavy curtain hanging in the middle of the Chamber of Horrors. Wonder what's behind it. Probably something scary. The placard says, Special Exhibit Room. Seems that you need to pay a separate fee to get inside. Do you have to pay even more money to get even more scared? Getting mad at me won't help anything. I think that's the same exact dialogue that Iris gave me, too. The old man from the other day isn't there anymore. Never expected to see him make an appearance as a juror. I heard that there are 6 million citizens in London, but... Sounds as though the world is smaller than I thought. Well, in meta form, it's more like just too much resources, too little on the 3DS. Oh, what's a stepladder doing in a place like this? Yeah, strange place for a stepladder. You better let Russaud-sama know she left her stepladder out. Well then, good to know that they're both on the same team. Is something wrong? The heck? Why do I feel this weird sense of disappointment? I've seen everything I need to see here. Eh? This man's left his flank completely unguarded. He's no match for me. I'd give him a Tusssaud toss, then a Tusssaud drop, and finish him off with a Tusssaud guard. Sure. Then, if he were still conscious by some miracle, I'd lay a finishing blow with a Tusssaud crush. Tusssaud crush? Oh, I beg your pardon. It's rather difficult to explain in words, so... If you wouldn't mind, please come at me while leaving your flank unguarded. Not in a million years. Good on Holmes. A frightening serial killer statue. Oh, actually the one holding the knife is the serial killer in this one. I'm not sure there's anyone in the world who would misunderstand that. According to the description there, the bathtub behind her doesn't have any special significance. Eh? Really? I was certain that woman had committed crime after crime while selling bathtubs door to door, or something of that nature. Certainly a unique interpretation. Alright, now we can talk to Holmes. Anyway, we came all this way to talk to Holmes-sama, but I wonder where he could be. Actually, he might be closer than you think. Eh? Just what does that... I'll say I am! That's me! Your friendly neighborhood Sherlock Holmes, the world-famous detective turned famous wax figure. Susato-san! Susato-san! Oh my god, you just... Sherlock has killed Susato. I'm so incredibly sorry. I thought I was going to travel straight to heaven via London. Ooh. Allow me to treat you to a steaming fragrant cup of famous deduction sometime to make it up to you. Quit pretending it's like tea. So you're a temporary wax figure. It's just a disguise to avoid being recognized by the public. I've already basically finished solving the case. Basically. Are you talking about the wax figure kidnapping case? The very one! I had it squared away before breakfast time. Well, not that I ever got breakfast or any food at all. Oh! Holmes-san's growling stomach echoed pitifully throughout the museum. Anyway, how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, like I said, it's basically solved, but I negotiated with the kidnapper. Are you familiar with an object called a telephone? Yes, it's a new piece of telecommunications technology that allows you to speak to someone far away via a receiver. It's only one small area of the Imperial City in our country that's hooked up to them. A telephone call came from the kidnapper this morning, and I negotiated with him. That's how I got him to give the wax figure back. That's amazing. Now, don't go spraying this around, but apparently the kidnapper intended to send the wax figure back here from the start. Huh? But he at least demanded ransom money, didn't he? Well, if you ask me, he probably thought it'd be more suspicious if he didn't demand anything. So then, in that case, your negotiation was unnecessary all along. Is that right? If you could kindly keep that secret from Madam Russaud, I'd be very grateful. I've got a hungry little iris waiting for me back home, after all. Yada yada. Anyway, what business do you have with this wax figure? A lot of things, actually. Let's start with Enoch Drebber, apparently. We're currently trying to track down a certain someone. Oh? His name is Enoch Drebber. It's a fraud who deceived Dirkpour-sama and the engineer who built his device for him. A fraud and an engineer, huh? Sounds like quite the charmer. Not only that, but he seems to have skills in stage magic, meaning he's a bit of a magician too. We'd like to find him before tomorrow's trial begins, if possible. We have so few clues to go on. What should we do? Not really sure what to tell you. If I at least knew what he looked like, then maybe I could help you out. He needs to know what Drebber looks like, huh? Well, we have a photo, that's convenient. Well, fortunately, I'm free today and running on an empty stomach. If you find any clues, don't be afraid to bring them right over. We will. About a Sogi. Alright, Holmes. Holmes-san, you didn't lie to us, did you? What's this all about, Mr. Naruhodō? You've got a fearsome look in your eyes.
1 year ago, when we were on our way to the Great British Empire via steamship, you clearly said the following.
Now then, let us begin unraveling this mystery. We shall find the truth behind this curious murder.
You said it was murder. Then you investigated Kazuma-sama's body.
What are you getting at?
I saw him today. We met Asogi Kazuma.
Are you certain of that?
He was wearing a mask and apparently lost his memories. There was no mistaking it. It was definitely Kazuma-sama. Should have noticed right away. Kazuma-sama wasn't dead.
Sorry, I was totally fooled by the atmosphere at the crime scene. I never dreamed he might have actually been alive. Holmes? Lying about a best friend's death is not something to laugh about. Oh my god! Would you believe me if I told you that, Mr. Naruhodō? I can buy the possibility of the sailors there getting the wrong idea. But not you, Holmes-san. Let me tell you something useful, Mr. Naruhodō. Famous detectives are prone to lying. You do well to remember that.
Holmes-san.
The door to a major mystery will likely open right before your very eyes during tomorrow's trial. That's all I can say at the moment. God damn it, Holmes. God damn it. What is going on? Why? And now we're left with the question of why? Where's the photo? God damn it, Holmes. Would you mind having a look at this photo, Holmes-san?
This is Enoch Drebber. He's the mechanical engineer we're searching for.
Well, all those Brits look basically the same. I can't tell from a photo who... What's wrong? Oh, pardon me. It's quite fascinating.
What is it, Holmes-sama? You look a touch pale all of a sudden.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodō, I have a proposal. Yes? What is it? Going back to what we were talking about earlier, about the wax figure I took back, I was the one who took the figure back to its rightful place, which is behind that closed curtain behind you. Oh, you mean the professor? I could show it to you for 5 shillings. That's a special limited time price. Huh? Since you're here anyway, why not have a look at my fabulous arrangement?
But we're in the middle of an investigation. If you don't mind, perhaps another time?
5 shillings! I really think you'll want to see this. Does this mean you're being serious right now? You should be able to tell whether I'm joking or serious by looking at my face. I'm asking because I can't tell, obviously.
Very well. Here's 5 shillings.
Alright then. Now, to the special exhibit room. Take a good look.
Since we've already paid, let's head into the special exhibit room.
behind the curtain, huh? $5 to get in, huh? A little bitter over the fact that the money went into Holmes-san's pocket, though.
I kinda see what you mean. Why don't you just imagine that it was a pickpocket from you by Gina-sama?
A pickpocketing detective and an extortionist great detective. Things are pretty wild here in the Great British Empire. I mean, they've got a Grim Reaper prosecutor and a fried food-loving detective in addition to the other two.
Surely we can overlook the fried food lover.
Alright, here we go. Let's see what's so special about this room. Same day, unspecified time, the special exhibit room. Oh! I don't think that's supposed to be that way. Hello?
That's... I can feel myself starting to tremble.
Tusssaud-san, let's just turn right back around. Go have some sweets and go home.
We mustn't. We already paid $5.
That's your reason? But now that I get a closer look, for him to calmly extract payment for something so obviously incomplete, I gotta say, our Mr. Sherlock Holmes has a stunning amount of nerve. This track.
I suppose this is what he meant when he said that it was mostly solved.
Well, setting that aside, I wonder if there are any clues in this room that might lead us to that mechanical engineer. Well, we might as well do $5 worth of looking around.
Right.
Poor Tusssaud-san. Sounds like her voice is trembling. Oh, this is spooky.
So, this must be the serial killer known as the Professor.
Yeah, looks that way. According to what Madam Russaud told us, she said he killed 5 high-profile people who were aristocrats or related to the royal family.
Looking at him like this, he certainly seems real, doesn't he?
Yeah, I half expect him to start moving. If only he had his head. Let's have a closer look at this wax figure.
As I recall, this man was on death row, right?
Yeah, apparently. And they called him the Professor.
Then, could he perhaps have had his head snipped off by a guillotine? And he was nevertheless unable to rest in peace, and ended up transforming and climbing out of his grave like this.
Please don't say such scary things. This metal fitting is for holding his head on. I'm pretty sure he had one at some point. A head, I mean.
So then, perhaps Holmes-sama carelessly forgot to attach it.
It'd be one heck of a careless famous detective to forget something like that.
Or perhaps, the kidnapper carelessly forgot to put it in the box with the rest of it.
He'd have to have been one heck of a careless kidnapper. Maybe there was a reason he couldn't return the head. Either way, we can't tell like this what the Professor looked like, can we? Something tucked inside the inner part of the prisoner's outer shirt. It's a shard of glass, and a pretty big one at that. Hello?
It's rather thick too. It's about 5 times that of a regular window glass.
Wonder where thick glass like this could have come from.
You can probably assume this thickness was intended to increase durability.
Durability?
Let's see, for example, perhaps a place with a very large window pane or the like.
You don't say! Come to think of it, we saw a place like that just recently with the glass broken, didn't we? Yeah, the Crystal Tower at the World's Fairgrounds.
It's a shard of the glass from the Crystal Tower doing on this wax figure.
I'd like to know that too. Glass shard, a peculiar and very thick piece of glass found on the wax figure of the professor. It seems to have come from the Crystal Tower. We found out during the trial today that some stage magic was performed. Now we find this shard of glass. Could it be a coincidence?
This one here is also somewhat frightening. It almost looks like it could be alive.
Seems to be a young person. He's wearing a lab coat.
And in his hand is a large shovel, I think.
Maybe we ought to have a closer look at this wax figure.
This large shovel, there's something a touch frightening about it. A shovel near a grave. So what was he doing with it?
Tusssaud-san?
Yes?
That's a spade, isn't it? Here we go again!
No, it's a shovel.
No, a shovel is a small one used for gardening.
No, that's a spade.
No, it's not even pronounced shovel, it's cheval. What?
I don't think it particularly matters either way. Important to look at the basic nature of things, in my opinion.
Got a little scolding. Setting that aside, I am pretty curious as to what he was doing at the gravesite at that time. This song is so, like, somber and melancholy. Like, trying to get his light thingy, but it's like, how do I get over there? This is one of those handheld lanterns. I guess it's what we call a chochin in Japanese.
Whether it's a lantern or a chochin. Walking around a cemetery at night with just this one small light. Certainly not something I'd be brave enough to try.
Personally, I wouldn't be able to handle a scary place like this even in broad daylight. What is this?
The bit attached here appears to be a lens. So a camera seems a likely possibility.
A camera? I've never seen one this small before. Just like with Holmes-san's finger mark detector. English technology defies explanation.
Perhaps we should consider Holmes-sama's inventions to be an exception rather than a rule. But regardless, I wonder why he brought a camera to a night visit to a cemetery.
Maybe he was hoping to capture a shot of a dead person rising again?
Perhaps we should borrow this camera, just for a little while.
Camera. A camera that was hanging from the neck of a wax figure in the special exhibit room of the Wax Figure Museum.
You can view photos that have been taken by checking this dry plate inside the camera.
Dry plate?
It's a plate that you coat with photosynthesizers to allow the light entering through the lens to stick to it. There should be one inside if we just open the lid here. Shall we have a quick look?
Tusssaud-san looks really excited about this. She likes these sort of gadgets. It's hard to make out his face like this. I'll just borrow this.
Are you sure it's okay to move him like that without asking?
I'll make sure to put it back exactly how it was when I'm done.
What on earth does this mean?
It's a black monocle.
Oro-sama, this gentleman's face. It couldn't be.
Enoch Drebber.
His hair color is different, but it must be.
It's the same person. That's right. Holmes-san. Was I correct? Is he the one you're searching for?
Yes, it sure looks that way. Just who is this guy?
And what's the story with the headless prisoner? There was no head in the package the kidnapper sent.
Thought so. And that means this case hasn't been solved all the way.
I said as much myself, didn't I? I said it was mostly solved. I'll have to find it before she notices, but keep this a secret from the madam. I've got a hungry little iris at home waiting for me after all.
In any case, there's something about this room that's strange.
Strange?
Displays at the Chamber of Horrors are reproduction of events that actually occurred.
Yes, you're exactly right, Mrs. Otto.
And, accordingly, the other room was full of reproductions of terrifying crime scenes. But this I find very difficult to believe that such an event could really have occurred.
It appears that a little chat is in order regarding the professor's case from 10 years ago.
We're gonna get information.
The undead condemned prisoner. I believe we discussed the professor's case yesterday. In that incident, 5 high-ranking people lost their lives. The victims were killed by a giant hound that attacked them and tore out their throats.
A hound? Goodness, how horrible.
Somehow, they managed to arrest the culprit when the 5th victim was killed. It's a major incident for England, therefore. The professor's trial was never made open to the public and was instead conducted in absolute secrecy.
Absolute secrecy. So then, the true identity of the professor who was arrested.
As you've already guessed, it was of course also never made public. Naturally, the verdict was guilty. The serial killer was condemned to hang. His remains were buried in Lowgate Cemetery behind the prison, but that wasn't the end of the incident.
What?
The very night that the remains were laid to rest, the condemned prisoner rose again.
What do you mean, rose again?
He dug himself out of his grave, up from the dark earth and into the moonlight. He appeared. This is the scene at the time, recreated based on eyewitness testimony.
Eyewitness?
It goes without saying, it was this young man in the lab coat. That owl in the back is really creeping me out.
Enoch Drebber?
See if we can finish all this conversation. The young man's identity.
So the man represented by this wax figure is Enoch Drebber.
10 years ago, the condemned prisoner was hanged and his remains laid to rest, and in the middle of the night he rose again from his grave. There's only one witness who saw the occurrence, and this is him. By the look of him, he appears to be a young man of about 20 years old.
Goodness!
He was in a state of half-madness as he ran to the police to report what he witnessed. Apparently, the young man had been so terrified that his hair had gone completely white in the space of just that single night.
True, the man in the photo does have snow-white hair.
Within several days, his eyewitness account was splashed across the front page of newspapers all over London. The citizens of the Great British Empire were worked into a frenzy by the story of the undead prisoner, and the very exhibit ended up being created. And that's the story.
I can certainly understand how all a person's hair could go white after witnessing a terrifying scene like this one. But I wonder what Drebber-sama was doing there in the first place. What could have brought him to a lonely cemetery such as this one in the middle of the night?
Good point. After the execution. 10 years ago, the professor had the upper echelon of London society quaking with fear. It was a huge scandal, I suppose you could say. All sorts of rumors were flying about due to the fact that his identity was never revealed. After all, a serial killing incident in which a dog was used as a weapon was unprecedented. I kind of imagine. But eventually all the rumors died down. And that young man's shocking eyewitness account of the undead prisoner was dubbed a suspicious ghost story, or an amusing trifle, and faded from the public's memory.
And why was that?
There never was any undead prisoner. That fact was proven.
There wasn't? What's that supposed to mean?
A press conference was held by the police who'd searched the prisoners' graves at Lowgate Cemetery. They reported that the prisoners' remains were unmistakably still buried there.
But then this man, Enoch Drebber, he lied to the police and newspapers?
That's the only thing that makes sense. After that, the young man vanished from public view, but to think the next news we heard of him would be like this. It's impossible for a death row inmate who's been executed to rise again, but he experienced such terror that all his hair turned white in a single night. I don't think that's how it happened, but eventually it did over time. For that to be dismissed as a lie doesn't add up. Alright, we're gonna stop here because the next part of the scene is gonna trigger, and I don't want that to trigger right now. We're gonna save that for the next video because we are over time. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys then. I'll leave you all with this really ominous music.